Hello everyone, I don't see come back again with another gist. Our Nollywood superstar Shashi herself, she don't come and I know say last 2 years, 2020, where she herself come and not the way she herself, she not talk concerning the husband Austin. And even this early this year as well. The same thing when she come and say she's done with the marriage here and there. When my country people now know say she herself she dey suffer from she's suffering from bipolar disorder. Now know say that thing na real, just that some of our Nigeria people they know they take things serious. Any small thing they'll say na devil work, not be devil work. And her own case, I love the courage wey she herself take come out for public come narrate wetin she herself dey pass through since all these years and wetin be the meaning of bipolar disorder, because a lot of people they never still understand that thing. People wey dey suffer from bipolar disorder, though dey hear the third voice inside them, and which is very bad. Yes, na be wetin that thing mean, because that thing na very bad sickness. Na wetin no be wetin dey good at all. And wetin I love about her, this Shasha, she come out, she get the boldness to come out to narrate wetin she herself dey pass through, because no be everybody get that courage to come out on social media come dey talk wetin you dey pass through since all these years. And I love the boldness wey she get, because for her to come out and to inspire other people say this kind thing dey, this kind bipolar disorder, see how you take overcome it here and there. Well, my country people, make her not take una time, make una watch the video how she take explain everything, how she take overcome it little by little. Well, thank you and remain blessed, and please don't forget to share as well.
Free of our belongings, clothes, shoes, bags, the children's toys. I vandalized the hotel properties. The suite in the parlor area had 3 large cushions. I ripped it all apart using a tiny knife. It was nothing but madness. That was contained in just that. What I needed was a trip to the hospital. But I didn't go to the hospital because my husband and I, who is seated here with me, supported me. Can you please rise? We attributed it to demonic voodoo, marine spirits, somebody not somewhere. Now, we kept saying. Oh, it's Nollywood. You know, you can get really envious in that industry. Oh, it's my father and my mother. They never supported this marriage. Oh, I think it's your family. I think it's you, my husband. I think it's you. Because since I married you, my life just started going haywire. It was always one suspicion after another, one false accusation after another. I survived the writ, but I had yet another maniac episode in 2020 here in Delta State, Asaba. I was on the laptop writing script after script. Writing is my hobby. My husband was on his way to Lagos to sign a contract with our company, between our company and yet another production company. And before I could realize what was going on with me, I went mad again. And I began to do things around the house. I broke televisions, chandelier lights. I burnt all my clothes and my children's clothes. Just like I did in Enugu, I reduced everything that we owned to trash. And no, it didn't take one day. It was 3 to 4 days intense. On the 4th day, I didn't eat at all. I was only drinking water. I felt I had superpowers. I felt I was receiving a message from the divine. Or I felt like somebody was manipulating me, because there was 2 entities all of a sudden. There was me watching me that couldn't stop that me in action. They had to bound me hands and legs to the hospital. And then I was still just like in the movies. It was now at the hospital, American hospital here in Asaba, that Dr. Isioma Okoba, alongside a psychiatrist, Dr. Nebe, diagnosed me of bipolar disorder. I had heard that name in the movie, but because I'm an actor, that name seemed fictitious. It felt like a name that they had to come up with to buttress a character or a characterization. I didn't take that news pleasantly, because it was not a pleasant news. Because what do you mean? Do you know who I am?
Cha-cha.
I am way too beautiful. way too talented, way too brilliant to have what they call in my area a little bit of scoring. And that news came accompanied by yet another news that I found very impressive. All of a sudden, they said I was pregnant. We weren't expecting a baby, but I love babies. So I was like, yeah. I can't get away. I don't know what you're saying, bipolar, what? And so when they gave me drugs to take, when I went home, I was flushing the drugs down the toilet. I had a friend, I still have a friend in the US, who bought me pills worth thousands of dollars. It was a 6-month supply for the disorder. But my head didn't agree with that news. So I called her and said, I won't take them. The Lord told me in my sleep that those drugs are not for me, I'm fine. And then I now attached the pregnancy without my pills. But I never stopped going mad. Only this time it was small madness. But then, when I had my baby and resumed work, the stress of the work began to jam my brain again. I had yet another episode. Just like in 2020, I had another episode in 2021. I had that episode in 2020. Every year there's always episodes. Hypomanic and manic. This particular episode, I burnt all our wedding photos, all our vital business documents, all our clothes. We had no clothes again. It's what I do. I did that. The last manic that I eventually wandered off. On the streets, many are raving mad, naked. But there are people who are not naked yet, but they are. This particular manic, between April, May, June, July, of course, I burnt clothes, destroyed things, but I wandered off. 4 a.m. in the morning, my family were asleep, and I wore my clothes. I sneaked out of the house. Immediately across the gate, I take off. I was running. Nobody was pursuing me, but I felt like somebody's trying to kill me. Hallucinations, delusions. Because I love my husband and my 4 children at home, including a 1-year-old. But then I suddenly remembered home and I felt like, okay, the reason I ran is because this man here, I was convinced in my head that he wanted to use me to do rituals. The nature of my work doesn't support the sickness that I have. I make pretense for a living. Mm-hmm. People pay me to be pretending to be who I am not. And I've done it for over a decade plus. So I'm a guru at it. But all that pretense began to backfire on me because I began to lose myself in the midst of it all. Characters that I do not recognize were now jumping out of me. I'd come on social media and write nonsense. No, come out the language. And that was the worst thing you could do to me then. If you say, I could fight you. Because what do you mean? What ogu? Insult yourself there. On and on it went. I came back and they bundled me yet again to the hospital. This time, Dr. Val's hospital. What's the name again? Ken Crest Hospital. That's the 4th hospital now. One hospital after the other. And it's not like our bills were ever cheap. It's designer sickness, yo. Our bills used to be 700,000, 800,000. And it's not just the pills. The pills are not even that expensive. It's the aftercare, the psychotherapy that they used to give me that I was still combating. I shaved my children's hair. Anybody that knows me here on social media know my children. They are my greatest asset alongside this man. If you know me on social media, you've never seen me in a private jet. I don't have a Wrangler. I don't have those expensive cars. But the expensive treasure that I still have, is my husband and my children. But trust bipolar to make a mess of my most treasured possessions. If you're bipolar, when you're having an episode, your favorite things, your favorite people become your worst enemies, your worst things. It's 2 poles. It shifts from this pole to that pole, and it will stay there for a long time. Just allow me to come back. I'll be taking my medicine. I promise. And then he said to me, that's just the point we wanted you to get. The Because what is happening to you has happened to many people. It's happening to many people. So you don't let it ruin you. To me, the moment I realized that bipolar makes me unstable in my moods and in my dealings with people, I began to make conscious efforts to be a better person.